what I got from that was step number one, if you're experiencing back pain or if you have a desk job, to either prevent or to aid in your low back pain, one of the most important things is
hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Just about any and everything you can think of, I messed up. Like knees, I've had 2 patellar dislocations, which is I'm actually dealing with rehabbing one right now from a fight, which I'm,
we'll dive into that.
Into that. But I've had 2 patellar dislocations. I've had tearing in my quad. I've had tearing in my hamstring, vertebral fractures, sprained ankles. It's just soccer was not kind to my body. Yeah.
We need to put like hashtag injury prone on your arm or something.
Yeah. No, I was definitely injury prone, like coming up, and I think there's a lot of factors that go into that.
Yeah.
But
which is crazy because it almost sounds like that PT job was almost like a calling.
Yeah. So the way that I perceive it to be is that I had to go through all these injuries so that I could learn from each and every single one of them. And it's funny because most of the injuries that people have come to me with through this job that we do, I have already rehabbed for myself and I have experience with. So that's why, a lot of my work up to this point has been rehabbing people. I've dealt with low back, knees, shoulders, elbows, ankles, like all of it. And I have experience with all of it just from the injury history of myself,
And that's one of the best things about the coaching experience and the journey is like, I feel like most coaches that get into the space, at least the good ones that I know and that I've worked with, all come from a place of like, I want to prevent you from going through the same shitty, horrible, taunting experience I had to go through. So this is great and unique. And like Jake's my go-to. Like every time I get a client or TNT as a whole gets a client is like when we have someone that has nagging injuries or knee pain, hip pain, ankle pain, back pain, that's kind of bothering them. It's like the most common stuff we see. And when we run across those people, it's like, okay, Jake's our go-to guy. So I love having you as someone on the team, especially for that reason, because we have more value to add to the universe to our clients. So that's amazing, man. So just to kind of recap, we went from high school, a little bit before that, you started lifting. High school, you started the PT. So how long did you do the PT job for? Was that something you did for a long time? Was it just a short little bit?
Yeah, so shout out to Body Mechanics in Simi Valley.
There we go.
That 2 years-ish that I spent there during my undergrad was one of the most transformative experiences I've ever had in life. I will forever be grateful for the time spent in that office and the knowledge that I was able to obtain and bring into my career with me. I think, being there for as long as I was there for almost 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. And I worked with so many different people and there were so many different like injuries that would come across, or like, you had people coming in, like after car accidents and they were just debilitated and you could just see it.
That's
like
crazy.
They were just crushed, like their whole life, everything that they've ever known is, like completely altered just from the accident.
One freak accident.
Something. Yeah.
So that being said, like what was like the most common reoccurring injury? Was it like a shoulder? Was it back? Or like, cause I know PT can be for like acute stuff in terms of like
so many different situations and so many different cases.
Did you see one that you're like, man, I keep seeing this over and over?
And it was definitely low back, shoulders and knees. Those were like the most common.
Low back, shoulders, and knees.
I would say low back. I would say first and foremost was
number
low
one.
Back. And there was a common theme across the board with low back patients was sedentary lifestyle and being seated too much.
Okay, this is fun. We can kind of let's dive into that a little bit more, because I feel like we'll get into this more as we get into like your training and like where you are now. But I think while we're here talking about low back and sedentary lifestyle, because I'm sure most of the people that we know, most of the people that will probably watch this, As you know, the podcast is a little bit newer, so hopefully we get a couple decent views.
Yeah.
But ultimately, more importantly, I hope that at least one person watching this gets some value, and I feel like this could be for that person. And so, when it comes to sitting a lot and having this low back pain, which again is super common.
Yeah.
What kind of approach would you take then and or now to aid in that low back pain or even prevent it from coming in the first place?
There's so many different things. And there's so many things that
give me like 1 to 3
I have my
elements.
I have my 3 key pillars.
Let's go.
So the first thing I always tell people when they come in and they have low back pain, I'm like, stop sitting so much. Like it's gonna compress your spine.
But I can't because of my job.
Yeah, you got to get up and move around.
Okay.
You got to take longer trips to the bathroom. You got to get up more frequently, stretch, walk. You can't. It's hard because a lot of people, it is their job. Like they're seated and they got to work. But also at the same time, if you're sitting there 9 to 5 all day, every day, you're just compressing your spine. Standing upright.
And they sit. It doesn't help when they're sitting,
which is a whole nother set of issues on the
100%.
neck, mostly, and the shoulders. But my 3 key pillars when people come in with low back pain, I think the primary emphasis goes towards strengthening the core to work to stabilize the spine.
100%.
Especially because most people have very underactive core muscles. And everybody thinks when they come in, like, core is your 6-pack abs. Like there's a common misconception surrounding that. And it's so much more than that. It's your glutes, it's your abdomen, it's your lats, right? So we try to get all those core or those large muscle groups engaged, right? Mm-hmm. And then, usually due to the fact that they're sitting so much, their hips are extremely stiff, right? So my go-to, my bread and butter is like that banded hip mobilization. Mm-hmm. Basically, we just want to get the hips mobilized. And you see me doing that with my clients all the time, right? So hip mobilization.
What is that exercise called again?
Banded hip mobilization. I stole it from Squat University.
There we go. That one. So if you want to look that up, that's I see you use that one a lot.
Dr. Aaron Horschig from Squat University. Okay. And then there's also the Stuart McGill Big 3. Okay. So I follow those too. But yeah, I mean, get the core active and engaged. That's going to take some of the tension off the spine immediately and work to stabilize it. Mobilize those hips. That way, if you're sitting all day and your hips are stiff, that's definitely not going to contribute to the well-being of the spine.
Absolutely.
And then lastly would be spinal decompression. So, I mean, spinal decompression kind of comes as a result of those 2 things, but there's also specific exercises and movements that I have my clients go through to decompress the spine.
Can you give me one of your favorites?
Ooh, there's so many.
Give me one.
Yeah. I think one of my favorites would be just like a dead hang.
Okay.
Yeah. So dead hang or even
feet up or hands? Upside down hang or
Oh, no. Just hanging.
Just hang. Just hang from a bar.
Just hang from the bar. Love that. Yeah, just hang from the bar.
So what I got from that was step number 1, if you're experiencing back pain or if you have a desk job, to either prevent or to aid in your low back pain, one of the most important things is let's prevent more from happening by moving more. So more steps.
Yep.
Number 2 would be strengthening your core.
Yep.
And I think number 3 would be allowing for more movement in these joints. So by working on mobility, flexibility, so your hips and your spine. So hanging, doing the hip mobilizations, I think that would be the best way to summarize that. Would you say that's pretty accurate?
It's pretty accurate.
Cool.
It's pretty spot on.